Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel. Before we dive into today's story, we just wanted to take a quick second to say thank you all for watching. We truly appreciate your support. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, it's totally free, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest stories. Now, with all that said, let's jump straight into the story.
The old Victorian house stood on Hemlock Lane like a skeletal finger pointing at the stormy sky. They said it was cursed, plagued by shadows that danced where the sun didn't dare to tread. Decades ago, the Pruitt family had vanished overnight, their screams echoing through the night, swallowed by the silence that followed. The only trace was an empty house, the breakfast table still set, a child's drawing unfinished on the floor. They said the horrors lived in the basement, rising at the stroke of midnight to claim their due. Over the years, other families dared to call it home, lured by the low price tag and the promise of a fresh start. They too disappeared, leaving behind only whispers and unanswered questions. They still live there, became a chilling rhyme, a warning whispered in hushed tones, a reason to cross the street at night. Real estate agents refused to list the property, the mere mention of its address sending shivers down their spines. Then came Amy and Ben. Young, bright-eyed, and armed with a shared passion for restoring old homes, they scoffed at the local legends. The price was too good to pass up, the house a diamond in the rough, waiting to be polished back to its former glory. They envisioned laughter, Sunday dinners, a future built within its walls. They didn't hear the warnings, or rather chose not to listen. From the moment they moved in, a subtle unease began to creep into their lives. Tools vanished from the basement workbench, only to reappear in different, unsettling locations. A scratching sound, rhythmic and insistent, scratched at the floorboards every night, starting around 11:59 p.m., ceasing abruptly at the stroke of midnight. Amy would catch snippets of whispers when alone in the living room, too faint to understand, but undeniably present. And Ben, on more than one occasion, found cold, clammy handprints on the inside of the basement door, as if someone or something desperately wanted out. They dismissed it all. Old houses creaked, minds played tricks. It was stress, sleep deprivation, the weight of the renovation. When the contractor, a burly man named Dale, quit after one day in the basement, muttering about being watched, they brushed it off as Dale being superstitious. But the unease grew, festering like a hidden wound. They started arguing, their optimistic facade cracking under the strain. Then came the night they stayed up late, poring over blueprints. The grandfather clock in the hallway struck midnight, each chime echoing like a death knell. The basement door, always securely locked, creaked open inch by agonizing inch. A gust of fetid air rushed up, carrying with it the stench of decay and something ancient, something indescribably foul. Shadowy figures writhed within the darkness, whispering in a language that clawed at the edges of their sanity. They reached for Amy and Ben, their touch like ice, their intent clear. Terror seized them, a primal fear that threatened to consume them whole. Just as they were being dragged towards the abyssal opening, the distant church bells chimed 1 a.m. The figures recoiled, hissing, and vanished back into the darkness, leaving behind only the lingering stench and the echo of their unholy language. Shaken to their core, Amy started digging. She discovered an old journal hidden beneath a loose floorboard in the attic. It belonged to a child, Beatrice, who had lived in the house in the 1950s. The entries were filled with childish drawings and increasingly frantic descriptions of terrifying nights, basement people, and a growing fear of the dark. The final entry, scrawled in shaky handwriting, sent a chill down Amy's spine. "They're here. Mommy's screaming. They don't like the light." Tucked within the journal's pages, Amy found a faded diagram detailing an ancient ritual, a way to seal the basement, to trap the horrors within. But there was a catch, a horrifying requirement, a living sacrifice. Driven by a desperate hope and a gnawing fear, Amy delved deeper into the house's dark history. She descended into the basement, the air growing colder and heavier with each step. She unearthed an ancient seal beneath the concrete floor, a circle etched with symbols that seemed to writhe before her eyes. The seal was cracked, leaking shadows like a slow, agonizing wound. She heard whispers, too, faint and mournful, originating from the walls themselves. The trapped souls of previous inhabitants, half alive, warning her, begging her to leave. The days that followed were a blur of terror and desperation. Amy became obsessed with the ritual, convinced it was the only way to save them. Ben, meanwhile, grew distant, haunted by what he had seen, what he had felt that night. Then came the next midnight. The basement door swung open once more. The shadowy figures emerged, their whispers weaving a tapestry of dread. They lunged for Ben, their icy fingers sinking into his flesh. He screamed, a desperate, throaty cry as he was dragged into the darkness. Amy tried to intervene, but an unseen force slammed her back, throwing her against the wall. As the door slammed shut, the spirits whispered, "He's ours now." Amy knew what she had to do. She had read the journal, seen the symbols, understood the price. The next night, as the clock ticked towards midnight, she steeled herself. She could save Ben, but only by offering herself in his place. At the stroke of 12, she descended into the basement, her heart a drumbeat against her ribs. The air was thick with the stench of decay and despair. In the center of the room, bathed in an unholy glow, was the entity, a writhing mass of childlike spirits fused into a monstrous form, their faces contorted in eternal torment. "I offer myself," she said, her voice trembling but firm. "Take me and let him go." The entity pulsed, its whispers intensifying, promising power, knowledge, a place among them. Amy closed her eyes, bracing herself for the inevitable, then silence. Days later, Ben was found wandering the streets, disoriented, mute and hollow-eyed. He didn't remember what had happened, couldn't speak of the horrors he had witnessed. He was broken, a shell of his former self, and Amy was gone. The house stands empty once more, the silence broken only by the wind whistling through the broken window panes. A new sign appears in the yard, "For sale, charming Victorian with history," and from the depths of the basement, a faint voice whispers, barely audible, chillingly familiar, "We're still here and always will be." Let us know in the comments section below, if you had heard the rumors about the house, would you have brought it?
Ready for spine-chilling tales that will haunt your thoughts. Subscribe to Forgotten Storyteller for eerie narrations, unsettling mysteries, and haunting stories you won't forget. Hit the bell icon so you never miss a story, because some stories refuse to stay buried. Join us, if you dare.